All right. All right. Can't wait to get this one started. Another
Yeah.
episode of Who You Would Pay to See, and I'm honored to have my man DJ B with me here. Just wanted to say in the offline texting back and forth,
Mm.
uh, I some of the names that you gave me in the early bit, I knew this was going to be a good one. This is definitely
Yeah, yeah,
more,
yeah,
more of a
yeah,
throwback one, especially for the youngsters who are going to want to watch this. So this is going to be good. I'm just going to tell you, I've been racking my brain for 3-4 days trying to put this 11 together after you sent me a couple of those
yeah.
names.
Well, there's a couple of changes that you might not know about. So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So there's a couple of swings. But what I've done, I've put together an 11 that I think deserve the praise because they was absolutely outstanding players. I've not gone for. Listen, I mean, everyone's perfect 11. You've got your Ronaldinho's, your R9s, Bergkamps, your Henrys,
Yep.
Messi's, Ronaldo's, your Zidane's, which are all my great players and everyone else's great players, Gianni.
Mhm.
But I've gone for kind of players where um, they're kind of gone under the radar, but were absolutely key in everything they done. And
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Hopefully you'll enjoy my best 11.
I'm sure. I'm
And I
sure.
would put it up against any 11 that was playing today. Any.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a very interesting, been a very interesting run so far with
Mm,
everybody. Everybody's 11's been different. Overall, there's been some of the same. But
mm,
that's the beauty of this. That there's no wrong answers with this. It's
mm,
everybody's opinion.
mm.
And yeah. So normally how this goes is we have you pick a starting 11 and then three guys on the bench just
Oh,
to
I didn't know. Right, I can pick some bench ones, but I weren't prepared for the bench. But I can do some bench.
So the bench is really just three guys. You can choose whatever positions. Most
Yeah,
normally it's a defender, midfielder, and forward to
yeah.
cover three different sides of the pitch. But we'll start with the back. I'm interested to hear this. So who do you have for your goalie for this team?
Iker Casillas,
Okay,
the
okay.
Spanish, the
Second, second
Spanish,
person,
the
second person.
Spanish legend, 2010 World Cup winner, two times Euro winner, three Champions Leagues. I mean, this guy here was the way he covered his goal from left to right. Brilliant shot stopper. His decision making was really, really good and very, very instrumental to that Spanish team that was
Oh
in
yeah,
front of him. I think without him in goal, Gianni, I don't think that Spanish team would have been as good and as
no,
solid as they were.
no, completely agree.
He was very instrumental and well and truly trusted. I always say that I'm people take goalkeepers for granted, I feel, but
Yep.
if you look at every great team and every great defense, and I was brought up defensively, I was brought up looking at defenders. Defending's an art for me.
Yep.
Watching the great Italian teams and everything through the 80s and 90s and early and mid 70s. I always say that if you've got a good goalkeeper like your Buffons and your Neuers and you know, it kind of breeds confidence throughout the team.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why
Oh,
your
it does.
Tony Adams and your Bolds and everything else. Part of the reason why they could defend was because they had the likes of Lehmann and Seaman and great goalkeepers like that. And Casillas is in that mould for me. I don't know whether he's been picked by many others, but for me, he was an outstanding goalkeeper as well. Very quick as well. Very quick off his
Mhm.
line. As well. People, one on one with him, and you was kind of, you was having to make your decision as a forward very, very quickly because he was on you. He was on you, and brave as well.
Yeah.
People didn't
Oh yeah.
realise how brave he was, but he was brave. Yeah,
Yeah.
outstanding. And that 2000, that World Cup winning, that World Cup's team that he played in was just. He was brilliant in that. Some of the saves he pulled off was really instrumental. Brilliant.
Oh yeah. So I've gone with the throwback here. You're the second person to pick Casillas. Aaron picked Casillas with his starting 11.
Did he?
Yeah. I'm going with someone that nobody has said, but we praised him when we talked about the greatest goalkeepers on Shane's Off Topic show. I've gone with Neville Southall.
Do you know what? I picked Nev. I picked Nev because he used to frustrate me every time he turned up at Highbury or Arsenal. He pulled off an absolutely outstanding 10 out of 10. That guy was amazing.
I think Southall, for me, is top 5, definitely top 5, arguably top 3 greatest shot stoppers of all time. I mean, first of all, him being undersized, but could get from goalpost to goalpost, leaping ability was just out of this world. If he was the same height as a Dino Zoff or a Buffon, he would have been even 10 times better than what he already was. And he was already amazing for what he was. I think he's arguably the most important player to that Everton success.
Oh, without a doubt.
And he just, again, he's somebody that I don't think he gets enough respect for the younger kids. You know,
very underrated.
Too many of the younger kids only look at it from the perspective of, oh, could they play in the modern game? And it's just, you know, it doesn't matter to that for me. It just doesn't matter to that for me, because I'm sure you're just like, in my opinion, I'm old school. As long as you can shot stop, you can start the offense by throwing the ball out or rolling the ball out or punting the ball downfield. You don't need to be good with your feet as a goalkeeper, in my opinion.
No.
I think it's so overrated nowadays. Just really quick before we go further, what type of formation do you want your team to be playing in?
I think I've gone for a traditional 4-4-2, I think.
Everybody loves doing this, the traditional.
I think I have, because I wanted to get 2 strikers in there.
Okay.
I wanted to get 2 strikers in there.
Okay.
But one of the Walter Zenga as well is another underrated goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He
was a good goalie.
Yeah.
He was definitely a good goalie. So who have you gone with your 2 fullbacks?
Gentile, Claudio Gentile, 82 World Cup winner. The only guy that I've seen do a job on Maradona and the likes of that. That guy was he was a rock. He was a rock for that Italian defence. Yep. And the relationship he built up with I can't pronounce his name. Sharea. Yeah.
Unbelievable, those guys.
Who is on my bench, by the way, Sharea. Didn't quite make it. But, you know, and then, you know, what he done. I mean, Juventus 6 titles, I believe, for Juventus.
Yep.
You know, and 11, I think he was 11, 12 seasons in Juventus.
Yeah. He was from 73 to 84.
Yeah. And then I think the best, the person that got the best out of him was when Trapattoni, I believe, took over from. Once Trapattoni moved in, and he built up that understanding with Chirao then, and he was just immense. He was just an absolute immense. And I know for a fact, you know, he's a Juve man. I know that, but he was brilliant.
Greatness is greatness, whether they're
he was brilliant
or not. Greatness is greatness, and
he was brilliant. He was brilliant, and for me, he was kind of he got everything ticking in that Italian World Cup winning team. You know, again, he was at the back there with them great defenders, and you couldn't go one-on-one with him. Every time there was one-on-one, he'd come out a winner. He'd come out a winner. His positional play and everything else weren't necessarily the most silkiest of fullbacks, if I remember, but what you got out of him was pound for pound.
Yeah.
Proper defending, real proper defending. Very rarely sat on his backside, very rarely out of position. Just a great defender for me. Really good. So impressive record. Incredible.
Who's your other fullback being put on the other side?
I'm going to go Maldini. Got to go Maldini, man.
I hear that.
The one and only 25, 25 trophies. I mean, come on, 7 Serie A titles.
Greatest defender of all time.
902 appearances, I believe, over 900 appearances for the same team, AC Milan, and never put a foot wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a quote, and I remember him. This is a quote from the great Maldini. If I have to make a tackle, then I've already made a mistake.
Yep. Great.
That says it all. That tells you everything about the coolness and the panache of Maldini. Probably one of the best players I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'll put him above Zidane. I'll put him above. And I know, Gianni, I know that strikers and midfielders will take all the plaudits, but if you can defend like this guy here, it is incredible, because he was not only good at tackling, he wasn't only good on the ball, he was good at going forward, he was good at going ball at his feet. Thierry Henry once said that he was the only player that ever scared him on a football pitch.
Yep.
Thierry Henry said that if Maldini was on it, I knew it was game over for me. He was the only player I couldn't beat on a 1-to-1 anytime. Couldn't beat him. And but yeah, I mean,
for me, he's the greatest defender of all time. We were talking about it. We did the off-topic show. We were talking about the dynasties, and a lot of people don't know this stat, but him and Franco Baresi were a center back pairing for 124 games across their time frame together for AC Milan. They only gave up what was it? They played 124 games. They only gave up 23 goals across 124 games as the center back pairing. I mean, the fact that you have over 100 clean sheets in that time, and especially it's not like it was Serie A after financial fair play came in and a lot of the different teams lost a lot of money. It was when Italy was by far the best league in the world and had the best players, had the best forwards, and the fact that you could get over 100 clean sheets in that many games against the best of the best is just absolutely shocking. So I don't blame you for picking him. The fullbacks that I've gone with, I've actually chosen the 2 historic Inter fullbacks from the 60s. Bergnic on the right side was massive. And again, these 2 guys, I know a lot of people talk about, a lot of the youngsters try to say Gary Neville and Beckham overlapping was the change of the game. And you got to dig deeper. Bergnic and the man who Maldini actually modeled his game over, the other side for me is Giacinto Facchetti. Facchetti and Bergnic are the original bombing up fullbacks during that 4-year period with Helenio Herrera for Inter. They're one of the greatest teams ever to play football. Facchetti, in 2 of those 4 seasons, had 10 goals scored as a fullback, which was just unheard of at the time. And Bergnic as well had a season where he scored 10 plus goals as well. And I mean, if Maldini models his game after you, and it turned out what it is, it speaks for itself, especially if it's your crosstown rival.
Oh man, yeah, and big up Mr. Pads. Antonio Cabrini was one that I was really struggling to leave out the team. I mean, Cabrini was just phenomenal. Class. Antonio Cabrini was, I mean, I can sit here all night and talk to you about Italian defenders. I mean, they were just everything that I must have been a really rare football fan, because for me, watching defenders defend was better than watching attackers and midfield players. Yeah, you got the adulation of goal scorers and all of that, but
you might be a little Italian, DJB.
Because probably am. It was an art. Honestly, and I keep saying it. You wasn't winning games. You wasn't winning titles. You wasn't winning anything without proper defenders in your team. You just wasn't winning them.
Yep.
And this is why I like the pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. I think they will go down as a very, very good pairing in modern day football.
Yeah.
very hard to compare them to some of the greats because they haven't won anything substantial yet. But I'm sure if they went on to win major trophies, then they would go down as a very, very good pairing. As regards as two defenders. Yeah.
So now I'm interested. Who
I don't know if
center back pairing.
I don't know if anyone's put this guy in, but he how can you not? Franz Beckenbauer.
No one has put him in there, and I'm glad someone's
Franzi Beckenbauer, the Kaiser, 3 Euros, 4 Bundesliga's titles. This guy, oh my god,
top 3 great. Him Maldini, and Baresi for me are the 3 greatest defenders of all time.
This guy, Franz Beckenbauer, read the game like a book. Read the game as if he was sitting in a library reading a book. His positional play was just incredible. He could pass, he could edit, just read everything. Absolutely everything. Franzi Beckenbauer. I mean, what a player. What an absolute player. And you know someone that I've seen not in the Franz Beckenbauer league, but I was a huge admirer of. And another one that probably made my subs bench, who I also admired, was Alan Hansen of Liverpool.
He's on my team.
Alan Hansen of Liverpool was an absolute baller as well. He was a brilliant player, cool, calm, collected, never. You know, when you're a central defender, you got to remember, central defenders them days, you had to get it right. You never had time on the ball. Your centre forwards were ruthless. They was elbows. They tackling. You know, you didn't have time. You was tackled as a centre half. Nowadays, you see a centre half now, people back off from them. They let them have play. But back then, you know, you had to get your position right. You had to be really solid in what you done. And this guy, Franz Beckenbauer, I mean, everyone moulded their game around him, didn't they? Bobby, the great Bobby Moore was a superb, superb defender.
So who you got him? Who's his partner? I don't know who's scoring on your defense right now.
Hey?
I don't know.
There's not a lot of goal scorers. The flare's coming, my friend. Don't you worry. I've got someone up front that you'll probably think, wow, I didn't think you'd pick him. But yeah, I've got to go for what he's done. The different, for what he's done, for who he was, his leadership, held together. And I don't think this team would have won anything if this guy hadn't have played for Arsenal Football Club, and that's Tony Adams.
Wow, what a defense.
Tony Adams, Franz Beckenbauer, Maldini, and Gent. I mean, look at that defense. Casillas in goal. Let's be honest, who's getting past them? Come on.
And you know what's funny with what you were saying, and I've said this multiple times, you know, that's the difference of the modern game. Like you say, a lot of the center forwards, they're not instantly getting hit or pushed behind like it was in the older days. And it's anticipation and awareness was much more important than it is for your ability to be fast. So many of the great center backs were not that quick, but it was because they could read the game so well at a high level, as like what you said with Maldini. If you have to make a tackle, you already made the mistake because your awareness and your anticipation was off.
Yeah.
That was the standards of the top defenders back in the day. And I mean, that is one hell of a defense. So I've gone with 2 guys that you mentioned, actually. I wanted to show some love to the great English defenders. I went with Bobby Moore and Alan Hansen as my 2 center backs.
Yeah, as I said, Alan Hansen was close. But Alan Hansen was just brilliant. Instrumental.
In my personal opinion, I think Alan Hansen and Tony Adams should be compared more to the Shereas, the Maldinis, the Baresis, and the Beckenbauers more than a lot of the modern day English defenders. I appreciate John Terry. I think he was a fantastic defender. but I still don't think he was on the level of those guys.
No.
Similar to what we said about how important Gentile was to Italy, both 82 and that run with Juventus, similar to how important Beckenbauer was to Bayern, Maldini to Milan, and Adams to Arsenal. Alan Hansen, you replace him with any other center back, Liverpool doesn't have as much dominance in that 70s and 80s period.
Absolutely
He's often forgotten about. And Bobby Moore in his own right, even though West Ham did not win a lot with him there, in his own right, he could even be argued as the greatest English center back, in my opinion. He's right up there with Hansen and Tony Adams.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I love, it's funny because growing up and listening to my grandfather and my father talk football, the Italians were always they always shrugged off the English because they always made the joke, oh, the English won the 66 World Cup because it was in England. They always tried to say it was rigged. And I always said, I go, that's kind of ballsy for an Italian to say that the English rigged it when we got a history of game fixing the way we do. But my grandfather spoke of Bobby Moore. He goes, Bobby Moore could have played right in that Juventus backline. And everybody. And the other thing was this, it's only now because of how marketing and everything's been for the Premier League over the recent years. You talk to a lot of the older Europeans that really watched football like that. Manchester United is not the biggest team in England. It's Liverpool. Everybody across the board, that old 70s and 80s Liverpool team, all recognize how great that Liverpool team was. And my grandfather even said, he goes, if the incident, I always forget its name, but the incident with the hooliganism that banned the English teams from competing in the European Cup, he goes, Liverpool would probably have more European trophies than Milan if that team was competing. He goes, that team was unbelievable. And he said the biggest robbery in sports was the fact that nobody was able to see Saki's Milan versus that Liverpool team in the European Cup back then. He goes, that probably would have been the greatest game of football you'd ever see if you saw that old Liverpool versus Saki's Milan. So now I'm interested. So nobody's scoring on your defense. Who are your two wingers for this team?
Whoa. There you are. Well, let's pick a centre midfield player first.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go with the great Pirlo. I mean, come on.
My favorite.
116 caps. Two Serie A titles, UEFA Champions League. I mean, the guy was just this guy. I have never seen a football player ever so unfazed and so laid back in any situation and still managing to dig out a 30-yard pass, a 40-yard pass, a 20-yard pass. Shot on goal was always on target. He could clip a ball. He was just unstoppable. I mean, the space and the awareness he used to create. He just used to roam around, and he weren't and big up to the managers that managed him, because he wasn't a player that you could just stick. He would never work under someone like Arteta.
No, hell no.
He was a player that you just had to kind of just let him play. Let him play. Let him take up those positions. Let him get the ball off the back line. Let him get the ball into midfield. But it was a very close run thing to, again, one of the greatest midfield players that I saw in modern football. And Thierry Henry said that he would put him as his first player on the team sheet. And he's played with some greats, let's be honest. Paul Scholes.
Yeah.
Very similar to Pirlo. Very, very similar to Pirlo. But for me, Pirlo just had it all. I mean, he had it all. But you could put Paul Scholes in there. The great Liam Brady was another one.
He was on one of my teams. That he was on the team that I put together with Taryn. I just on a quick side note, we talked about this on Aaron's call-in show. I I don't wish violence upon anybody. However, I think Martin Keown deserves at least about 5 bitch slaps for trying to compare Martin Odegaard to Liam Brady.
Oh no, the man's got to be sorted out, isn't he?
Yeah, he was unbelievable at Arsenal, but I honestly, in my opinion, the 2 years at Juventus, I think he might have been even better.
Yeah,
because he was in Italy. And I tell people all the time, Liam Brady is so forgotten about how good he is because the only person that you could have replaced him with to make that team even better was Platini. And Platini was the best player in the world by far at that time period. But Liam Brady, a lot of people don't realize how much love he gets in Turin and at Juventus. He's been to a couple games in the recent time, and the whole stadium will stop and stand up for him because even the young fans know how great Liam Brady was for Juventus. And I had such a problem. And again, I hate Juventus through and through, but you have to appreciate greatness, whether they're your rival or not. And Brady,
you do. 100%.
I was fuming when I heard Martin Keown say that Odegaard reminds him of Liam Brady. I was
sorry,
like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
I can't listen to Martin Keown.
Me neither.
I've lost a lot of respect for him since he's been doing the punditry. Loved him at Arsenal. I loved his passion at Arsenal, but no, he plays to the gallery. And I think once you start doing that, you lose your soul. And when you're comparing Odegaard with the greats of Liam Brady, then I'm sorry. I've seen Liam Brady. I grew up watching Liam Brady, and it's incredible. I wish I
could have seen him live.
This guy I had the privilege of watching live.
I've seen Pirlo live, both at AC Milan and at Juve, and he was just unreal.
This guy, my next pick on the wing, I think 960 odd appearances, 3 league titles, 2 Champions League titles, 4 FA Cups, played for Wales, probably one of the most underrated Premier League players and probably one of the underrated wingers in Europe, Ryan Giggs. Phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Yes, he was.
Phenomenal. 960. I mean, this guy was quick. He was the closest thing to Thierry Henry that I saw play. Quick, direct, good with the ball at his feet. Always got his head up, could pick a pass at speed, could go past you at will, cross a ball, pass a ball, and score goals. Score goals. Yep. 168 goals this guy scored. 168 goals. They weren't really tap-ins either. A lot of them was good goals.
Oh, yeah.
And absolutely amazing. Brilliant. So Ryan Giggs for me.
Okay.
When he scored that goal in the semi-final, although it broke my heart against Arsenal, it typified what Ryan Giggs was all about. And I was just saying, just bring him down, tackle him, trip him up, do something, get a yellow. But every time I watch it back, I'm thinking, that's what he used to do to players. He was quicker than a lot of people thought, and they probably couldn't get near him at the time. But I mean, I don't know if anyone else has picked Giggsy in their team.
No, nobody's picked the Giggs. That's actually a really good shout for Giggs.
I mean, I don't know what you think of Ryan Giggs, but for me, he was just incredible.
I love him.
I mean, Giggs, again, like you, Man United's my biggest rival, but you have to admire greatness.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think Giggs. A lot of people. I don't know. I think it's a thing where a lot of people don't respect Giggs because they hated Man United so much, because a lot of people don't pick Giggs, and they always try to say, I've seen across YouTube people say, oh, Giggs doesn't deserve to be in an all-time, strictly Premier League 11, which I humbly disagree. I think Giggs gives any winger that's played in this league a run for his money. On the pitch, he was absolutely something special. Okay, well, I'll do one winger and one center midfielder as well. So
Go on in.
my right winger is going to be Roberto Donadoni.
Oh, Donadoni, yeah.
Donadoni, I
Yeah.
think another guy who he was a part of that unbelievable AC Milan team. He simplicity was key. Simple in it wasn't the greatest dribbler of all time as far as flicks and tricks, but simple inside outside foot dribbling could get past you,
Yeah,
deceptively quick, good goal scorer, but always Donadoni's one of the best players in my opinion to find the pass that could lead to the assist. He could pick a
exactly.
pass out of nowhere that would open up an entire defense, and then Ruud Gullit or Ancelotti could find the pass that would lead to the assist with that team. But that assist would not come if it wasn't for some of the crazy passes that Donadoni could pick. And I just think he's another guy that's often forgotten about because
Oh,
he doesn't have the
massively.
same name as the rest of the guys from that AC Milan team. And then I went with the guy, maybe a lot of people don't know him. I'm sure you remember him, DJB, but Jean Tigana, the
Oh,
French.
Tigana. Oh, what from that French Euro?
Yes.
Played
Yeah.
with in the great Platini team and
Yep.
the one that was robbed of that Euros. I mean,
Yes.
Tigana. Oh, what a player.
Tigana,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Tigana was the engine for the France European Championship in '84.
Yeah.
Platini gets all of the praise, and rightfully so, because Platini was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Tigana was unbelievable. He was one of the few French talents that stayed his career in France.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely unbelievable. If anybody gets a chance, go back and watch the Bordeaux team of the 80s from 83 to 87. I think the Bordeaux team won 3 out of 4 league. Back then it was known as the French Division 1 title, but they also won 2 Coupe de France as well. And then he eventually made his move to Marseille in '89 and won back-to-back Ligue 1 titles with that Marseille team as well. Tigana is a center midfielder, I think, who just doesn't get the praise he deserves. He's great and a legendary player.
And quick as well. He was surprisingly quick.
Yes.
Quite a tall guy. I think he was over 6 foot. He was very Vieira-esque, wasn't he?
Yes.
Kind of build.
He was a mixture. He was built very similar to Vieira, but had the ability to dribble.
Yeah.
And could control the game very seamlessly in the middle. He's often forgotten about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm interested. Who's your other winger?
One and only. And I've seen this guy. I was very privileged to see this guy live. And he is probably, when you talk of the greats, right? Let me give you the build up of this guy. When you talk about the Cruyffs, when you talk about the Zidanes, when you're talking about the Ronaldinhos, when you talk about all of these great players, this guy was doing it on pitches you would not even. They were allotments. You wouldn't even walk your dog on these surfaces.
The mud bath pitches.
He got kicked to pieces week in, week out. And I mean properly kicked to pieces, still staying on his feet, left foot, right foot, could score from any man. It's the great Georgie Best.
And that ties right into with RSV's question.
The great Georgie Best. And I see him when he had his last few days when he had his last moments at Fulham. And I saw him, 179 goals, 400 and odd appearances. I mean, he won 2 titles, didn't he? 65, 69, I can't remember now. Yeah, 65, 69, 2 titles. Scored in the when Man United beat Benfica 4-1 in the Ballon d'Or winner.
Yep.
People forget that he was a Ballon d'Or winner as well, the great Georgie Best. If I would say to anyone, if you've never seen Georgie Best, go and watch the beauty with YouTube and all of that. Now you can just type it in, Georgie Best's great moments. This guy, I mean, you got Giggsy on the left, Georgie Best on the right, Pirlo in the middle, I mean, with that back four, come on, who
You're
is?
not scoring. You're not scoring, and you got to try to get the ball away
I'm
from these
sorry.
guys.
I'm sorry, Georgie Best. I mean, what he could do with a football. I mean, any player now you ask that was around in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that are still alive, and you say to them, who's the best player that you've ever seen or played against? And they will say Georgie Best. The only trouble is with Georgie Best. I think he had a quote once, and he said he gave up drink and women. It was the worst 20 minutes of his life.
He was the
And
English Maradona. He was
Georgie
the
Best
English
was the
Maradona.
poster boy. He just grew up in the wrong generation.
Mm-hmm.
He had all the looks, he had all the talent, he had money, and he was in that 60s era, that Britain's 60s era.
Yep.
Where if you was young, free and single, you just had the world at your feet. And unfortunately, with Georgie Best, drink got to him, the lifestyle got to him. If he'd have been around now in this day and age, I don't think you'll see a lot of the good players from back then really shine now, because football nowadays is so manufactured and
Yes.
ruined in my book. You don't see football now how it was years ago. You don't see passes from the outside of the boot. You don't see goals from outside the box.
That's the
He
amazing
was just
thing.
a joy. He was just a joy. So
That's the amazing thing. People like, he's a fantastic player and one of the best of the modern day, but people marvel at like when Luka Modric will put a pass with the outside of the foot, and they don't realize that the old timers, the old days, that was a regular day thing.
yeah,
They some guys have done it, have taken it to another level. A guy who was a waste of talent, in my opinion, had all the talent in the world, was Quaresma in the early 2000s.
yeah.
That outside of his right foot, he could do crazy things. But like you said, Best, that was easy for him. What people think is so difficult and so hard to do, George Best could do that with no problem.
And he could play centre mid. You could put him centre mid. He'd do a job. Put him on the right, put him on the left. He could play right across the midfield. It didn't bother him, and he was just brilliant. I mean, when I saw
where
him,
does he rank for the English talent for you? Is he the greatest English player of all time?
Well, Georgie Best was Irish, wasn't he? He was Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, he was Irish. No, it's fine, man. On the British Isles,
on the British Isles, where do you think he ranks as far as the greatest talents that have come out of the British Isles? Where do you think he ranks?
Out of all the Paul Gascoignes, the Liam Brady's, all the great players that have played for England, because there's a great player on the bench that no one will probably ever mention on your channel, Gianni. The Glenn Hoddles, all of them, the best. He was
the best for you.
One. Yeah. He's in the brackets of the Johan Cruyffs. Even the Cruyffs knew about him.
Yes,
the Ronaldo, he's up there with that caliber. He's in there with that mold, the Cruyffs and the the Puskas and the Pelés. I mean, he's right up there with them. I mean, he's just another level. I always say that there's levels of footballers. There's that level that you don't coach.
God-given talent.
It's just a God-given talent. They're born into this world. They're given a ball at the age of 5 and 6, and they're doing things with it from the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years of age that you've never seen. And you can't coach them. It's actually, as a manager or a coach, to kind of give those players instructions of what to do, because you just can't. You just can't. Do you know what I mean? It's like putting a dog's lead on a greyhound before a race and tying him up, and the hair goes round the track, and you just can't do it. There's certain players that you just can't. And Cruyff, Bestie, Ronaldinho, all these players, you just can't. It's just there. And that guy, I've seen some great players. I mean, I've been going to football from 1974. So I've seen some great
Oh
players.
yeah, you've seen the
And
best.
I
of the
mean, I've
best.
seen some. Yeah, I've seen the Zidans and all of that, and Batistutas and Georgie Best and everything else. But you know, I mean, but Arsenal's had some great wingers. I mean, they've had
Oh yeah,
Georgie
oh yeah.
Armstrongs and the Redfords, and you know, they've had some brilliant players over the years. But yeah, no, for me, Bestie was up there. And if you've got a strong back line, Gianni, and you've got flair in midfield, you've got to have an horrible beast and an absolute baller of a defensive midfield player. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I'm interested to hear this.
Lothar Matthäus.
Oh,
150 appearances for Germany, 5 World Cups, 82, 86, 90, 94, 98. Three consecutive finals. I mean, this guy, Bundesliga, 6 or 7, 5 Bundesliga. Was it 7 Bundesliga, 6 Bundesliga? I can't remember.
I think it's 7 with
Is
Lothar
it 7?
Matthäus. Yeah.
It's up there, isn't it? I mean, Lothar Matthäus, geez. I mean, come on. Defensively, midfield player. Hard, aggressive, silky, could pass, break up play, never out of position, disciplined, could run with the ball out of defence, could get you up the pitch if you needed it. He was everything that when people say to me, Zubimendi, Supermendi, Zubimendi, blah, blah this, blah, blah that, I'm comparing them to Lothar Matthäus and all of that. And I'm thinking, you're nowhere near it. You're nowhere near the defensive midfield players that I've seen. I mean, he's just one of a crop, but he's the best. If I was to put a defensive midfield player in that's reliable, for me, he would be up there.
So I used him in my team when I did it with Natster. I did a 4-4-2 in that team. My center midfield pairing for that team was Matthäus and Ancelotti.
Ancelotti, he's another one, yeah.
Lothar Matthäus, people. My grandfather, so just really quick, my grandfather said to me, he goes, the 3 greatest players I've ever seen play was Pelé, Maradona, and George Best were his 3 greatest players that he'd ever seen play.
Yeah, Maradona's just exceptional.
Matthäus, at one time, was his favorite player that wasn't Maradona, because obviously us being Napoli fans, but Lothar Matthäus, I have to find it. I think he has Matthäus's jersey somewhere in the house in Italy.
Wow.
The old Inter jersey.
Wow.
Lothar Matthäus was one of his favorite players. And, you know, it shows how unbelievable Serie A was that he only got one Serie A with him and Jurgen Klinsmann on that Inter team. And it just spoke to everybody. But Matthäus, you talk about a perfect midfielder that could do everything from the central position. It's got to be Matthäus. He gives everybody a run for their money in that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many brilliant. I mean, you know, you had your Rijkaards, Vieiras, all of them. I mean, Luke in the chat, big up. Rijkaard was another one I liked. I really liked Rijkaard.
Yeah.
Kante, N'Golo Kante was very underrated.
Yes.
Very underrated. What he done there.
Yes.
But listen, that Chelsea team that dominated, they had some great midfielders. I mean, people say that I don't think Frank Lampard gets the credit he deserves.
No. And shout out to Taryn BBK. He chose Claude Makelele as his number 6.
Claude Makelele
is another one. Wow. DJB, I'm scared to even see your strikers now with this team, because just with the midfield, you're going to beat somebody 4.
Well, I'm going to throw a striker in there that I thought was an absolute legend.
Okay,
he scared me as an Arsenal fan every time I see him play. He was one player I thought to myself, if he gets the ball, we're finished. Yeah, and he terrorised defences, and he was an absolute Liverpool legend. And that's Ian Rush.
Oh. That's a shout.
Ian Rush.
That's a shout, yeah.
346 goals in 660 appearances. 5 league titles, 5 League Cups, 2 Euro Cups. Ian Rush was an absolute. He's probably the most underrated forward in European football.
I would agree with that.
He had pace. He had pace, and his finishing was incredible.
Yeah,
I think he got an MBE, and rightly so. Never a Ballon d'Or winner though, which is that season he had for Liverpool. I can't remember.
No, that the Ballon d'Or for me, I think is an over
he
drama.
scored about 40 odd goals. I mean, the guy was just incredible.
Yeah,
even the great and Michael Owen was a good player as well. But I mean, the Michael Owen. I mean, I've seen some great
Rush's shoes, man.
Yeah. But Ian Rush was just wow. He was quick as well.
Yeah, he was. He was deceptively quick.
Really
quick.
Yeah, and he'd drift out on the left, he'd drift out on the right, he'd drop deep, he'd join the attack. But listen, if you got one-on-one with Ian Rush, I mean,
You're done.
You're done. No doubt about that. What the keeper wouldn't stand it. He scored some great goals. Any Liverpool fan, if you was to say, if there's one player that you would put on your team sheet, well, 3 players you'd put on your team sheet, and I'll guarantee you a Liverpool fan, if they was in the room now, would go Alan Hansen, Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush.
Yep.
Followed by, who was another midfield player I was going to put in, Graham Souness.
Yeah.
Underrated,
underappreciated.
Kenny Dalglish as well was a brilliant player, but Ian Rush for me was,
Okay. All right. So I have, well, we already brought him up. So since I have Tigana, who's going to go up and create through the middle, I put Frank Rijkaard next to him in my
Rijkaard. Yeah, he's up there, my friend.
Rijkaard was not with Milan for the Scudetto in 87, but Rijkaard was really the one who finally put the pieces together when Milan dominated Europe for 2 years. Him and Ancelotti in the midfield was one of the best. Yes. One of the best midfield pairings of all time is Frank Rijkaard and Carlo Ancelotti. And I've said this numerous times. For me, that period under Sacchi at Milan, that's the best team I've ever seen play football, in my opinion. The team was just absolutely unbelievable. Rijkaard, along with Ancelotti, could control the game. They knew when to slow the pace down. They knew when to speed it up. They knew how to properly stop the opposing midfield. They were just unbelievable together.
And kill the game off. They could kill the game off. And Rijkaard had that nastiness around him as well, which all great players have got to have.
Yes.
You look at any great player. I'm going back to the Georgie Best. Georgie Best had a bit of a streak in him as well, but he used to take a lot of stick. But the Rijkaard had a nasty side to him. Lothar Matthäus had a nasty side to him. You know, even the great Dennis Bergkamp, he was a nasty piece of work, Bergkamp.
Oh, yeah.
He'd done a lot off the ball and treading on your toes, and he was nasty. And Zidane.
I like that.
Yeah, all great players have got that about him. And what makes a good manager is how you control that with that player. But, some brilliant teams. It's fantastic to even, because I can remember them like yesterday, watching these players. You know,
so my other winger, I went with John Barnes. I really wanted to give some love to some of the.
I get that. I get it.
I like John Barnes. I like John Barnes.
I do get it. If I can just come in on John Barnes, I respect John Barnes, but people have heard me on streams before said that I thought that John Barnes was slightly overrated. However, I admired what he done, and I know what he done for Liverpool as a football player. I'd love at Arsenal, and I would have loved him at Arsenal 100%. And I admire John Barnes. I just felt he didn't do it on the international level for his England.
Okay.
That's where I fall down with John Barnes. I always thought he had. I never ever thought that he brought his A game to the England team.
I would say that's. Would you?
And that's no disrespecting John Barnes, because a lot of players don't. I've seen some great players, and they've just fallen short when they've been called upon internationally. Now, whether that's the manager not giving them the right scope or whether it's the tactics, I don't know. But what disappoints, I find John Barnes frustrating for me rather than, but I can see where you're coming from getting him in the team, because he was a wonderful player for club level. Wonderful.
Would you say that that's a pretty common theme for specifically English players? Because the amount of talent that England's produced, even today, even by today's standards, when you go back, England is one of those countries that I scratch my head to how they haven't won more international trophies. Them, the Dutch, the Portuguese, those three for me. Spain, I mean, Spain, they've won the Euros plenty of times, but even Spain, like, those are the teams for me that I just think there's always, I don't know if it's like you said, if it's the coaching or if it's just something switches off in the players' heads when they go to the international level for England, that it just, for some reason they fall short. And I hear that shout with what you're saying with Barnes, because
frustrated.
Because for Liverpool he was fantastic, but international he was almost as if he was a different player.
And I think for me that kind of when I look at world class, it's like it's been really difficult for me not to put Paul Gascoigne in this team, because for me Paul Gascoigne had everything. He wasn't an English player, I'm sorry. He was a Geordie boy, but for me he could have been he was Brazilian. He was brilliant. He was absolutely
he's often said, I hear a lot of people say that he's the greatest English player of all time.
I don't think there's been another midfield player better than Paul Gascoigne. He had everything. 2 feet, left foot, right foot, dribbling, passing. He had everything. And again, like all great players, unfortunately, they've got a side to them. But again, but no, John Barnes. I see where you're coming from with John Barnes. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that he wasn't a brilliant player. I just don't put him up to that world class.
Okay.
Where some people do. Do you know what I mean, Gianni? Brilliant player, but I mean, but again,
DJB, there's no wrong answers in this one. That's
why
it's why I love doing this segment.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Everybody can give their opinion on what they think on different players. Who are you pairing with Rush? I'm interested to hear this.
Well, this is tough. This is tough, right? This is tough because I did put the one and only Marco van Basten in, right? But I'm thinking everyone knows Marco van Basten, and his career was cut a little bit short. Bless him. You know, he was a great player,
greatest striker in my opinion.
This is a partnership that I would have paid to go and see and loved to have seen, because you had the hold-up play from this guy, plus the goals, plus bringing other players into the game as well. And I don't think Alan Shearer gets the credit.
Woo! Okay.
I don't. If Alan Shearer was playing for a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or that AC Milan team, I think Alan Shearer would be on a lot of players' lips, a lot of football fans' lips now, of picking one of the best strikers of all time.
Yeah.
Because he didn't win enough trophies.
No.
Harry Kane's up there as well because of what he does in the modern football. Harry Kane. Listen. There's the obvious ones, you know, the Lewandowskis and all the obvious ones that I could have picked, but I'm trying to pick something that's kind of a bit different. And I don't think Alan Shearer deserves the credit he got. I mean, some of the goals he scored and his record in the Premier League was just insane.
Yeah.
Insane levels.
Yeah.
For the clubs he played for as well. So you put Alan Shearer in a Real Madrid team, or you put Alan Shearer in a top team, a Manchester United at the time under Ferguson. Listen, if Man United made someone like Teddy Sheringham look brilliant, what would he have done and he was an intelligent player, but you imagine a man like Alan Shearer at a top team. I mean, he was Yeah, he was good. And can you imagine Alan Shearer alongside it with the pace of Ian Rush? I mean, he's holding the ball up, he's playing him in. Plus,
PJB,
he's a
with
goal.
your team,
Plus,
your
he's a
average
goal
score,
threat himself.
your average score line with your starting 11 has got to be 4-5-0 compared to most teams.
Yeah, it's up there, man, isn't it?
And the thing
How
that
do you break it down? How do you break it down? Because you got Lothar Matthäus, you got Maldini, you got Gentile, you got one of the best goalkeepers, and you've got a really quick forward. You got Ian Rush and Alan Shearer up front.
Yeah. So okay. All right. So I've gone with an all Italian strike force as far as my two strikers, because I'll be playing a 4-4-2 with my team. There's not as much hold up play, but my secondary striker, everybody talks about Roberto Baggio, they talk about Del Piero, they talk
brilliant
about
players.
Totti.
Yeah.
They're all fantastic players. For me, still to this day, I think the greatest attacking player, and I picked him for my secondary striker, was Gianni Rivera. Gianni Rivera, what a lot of people don't realize was this guy started playing at 15 in Italy. He was the talisman for AC Milan in the 60s. He was the talisman for that amazing. I mean, if it wasn't for that incredible Brazilian 1970s team, the 1970 team, Italy would have won the World Cup. But it was just they were a different play. That Brazil team was just a different level. But Gianni Rivera carried AC Milan to their first two European Cups, had to won Scudettes, battling that unbelievable Inter team, battling the unbelievable Juventus team in two different decades. And I just don't think he gets enough credit that he deserves. I personally don't think Roberto Baggio is even anywhere near as great as Gianni Rivera was for me for back in the day. He's one of my favorite players. I know for a fact, that my dad has his jersey from my grandfather. He is the old long sleeve red and black number.
Wow.
It's buried somewhere in the house, and I know when he moves, he's probably going to find it. I will get it, and I'll send
Rivera. I mean,
you or Shane for your retro show.
Great. That's a great shout, Rivera, because he was brilliant. I mean, I was going to have you got the great Cliff Baston and
Gianni Rivera was my guy.
The
other one for a shout is Giuseppe Signori. A lot of people forget this. A lot of people forget Giuseppe Signori, but the early days of the Italian 90s, he was a goal-scoring machine.
Yes.
Could score right foot, left foot, score worldies. He was unbelievable. And another guy who I just don't think gets enough credit. And again, this is the point of this show because there's so many great players across all the generations.
Would you say he's in that bracket with Alan Shearer, where people forget how actually good he was?
Yes, because he didn't win the amount of titles that was needed at the time for him to be put at that level. He wasn't with Lazio when Lazio won at the turn of the decade. He spent a lot of time. He spent a lot of time in the lower divisions in Italy, and then when he got into the Serie A, I think 92 to 96, I think he won 3 out of the 4 years as the top goal scorer in Italy. And again, that's you're talking that's the prime years of Italy as far as the Serie A.
Yeah.
And Signori for me, I think is often forgotten about as far as a goal scorer. So I just wanted to show him some love because again, that's what the show is all about, is to shout players.
Oh yeah, you got to. I mean, I mean, you could go through a team and pick the obvious ones, and I'll probably have with Pirlo, but I mean, Georgie Best had to go in there, but Ian Rush for me was a brilliant player, and the players you just mentioned. But there's one on my bench that's going to cause a surprise.
So that's who I'm interested in now. Who
you had to watch this player to actually admire how good he was, because he's another player that if he was playing for a top team in England, No disrespect. If he was playing for a top team in England, he would have got more recognition. He could have signed for many clubs. Many clubs would have had him in the team, and he'd have walked straight into the great Man United teams. He'd have walked straight into the great Liverpool teams, Arsenal teams, Barcelona's, everything. And he was a bit like Tony Adams, you know, and that was Trevor Brooking of West Ham.
Okay.
Trevor Brooking of West Ham was an absolute genius with the football. He was, any West Ham fan would tell you that's watched him, that's grown up watching him, he was instrumental in that midfield. Didn't win many trophies, but what a lovely player he was. He was such an intelligent player. Didn't have a lot of pace. He was kind of like a Matt Letizia, if you like. Very much like Matt Letizia, who, by the way, I found it hard not to put in because one of the best midfield players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying about Trevor Brooking, he was on that level of Matt Letizia. Probably he was like a Glenn Hoddle. Imagine like a Glenn Hoddle, a Liam Brady. He was that kind of player, you know, pick a pass, 30 yards, 20 yards, short, dribble with the ball. Very, very intelligent player, and scored goals as well. Won West Ham the FA Cup against Arsenal. May I say it? I was there. But yeah, a very, very intelligent midfield player. Anyone that hasn't seen Trevor Brooking, go and watch Trevor Brooking. He was a very, very intelligent player. Started his career at West Ham, ended his career at West Ham. One player, one club. But if he had have played for a top level club, he would get more accolades than he deserved. He was England. I mean, he was massive for England. He played with the Kevin Keegans and all of that, who again, Kevin Keegan, what a player. Underrated as well. Big time underrated. And he was instrumental in that England team. Again, failed to win anything, unfortunately, but had some great players. To Trevor Francis, Jerry Francis, Mickey Shannon, all of them sort of players. You know, there's some real top players. And
do you think? Here's my thing with that, right? Letizia, for me, again, I 100% agree with you that had he gone to a bigger team, he would be much more revered than what he is. Personally, I think Matt Letizia could have went to Italy and played for one of the big teams there as well. I think he was that player. Yeah. Yes, he could have played for anyone. But at the flip side of that, I think that's also what's cool about the mystique of those players is that they decided to stay on a smaller team to try to aid them as much as possible, like Letizia did with Southampton, Brooking with West Ham. I think it's like I think it's a toss of the coin with that because, like you said, obviously, Brooking, if he goes to Manchester United, if he goes to a Liverpool or an Arsenal, he's put in a different category of a player than what he is for staying at West Ham. And I think same thing for Letizia. But at the same time, I think there's something about the mystique of staying on a smaller team that also shows even more how class that those types of players are. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And they see, the thing is what they done for them teams as well. I mean, they're the sort of players that if you took Letizia out of that Southampton team and took a Trevor Brooking out of that West Ham team at the time, literally
Southampton might get relegated if you take Letizia.
Oh my word, yeah. I mean, it's a big, huge miss. You know what I mean? But he was a great player. He was a great player that played for West Ham, and he was again. If you're taking Pirlo and you wanted someone creative, and he was that kind of player. You know, he was that kind of player. Really, really good player. Really good player.
Okay, so my first person on the bench, little bit more present day for what I have on this team, but I went with Patrick Kluivert.
Oh, Kluivert, yeah.
I think Kluivert, you know, it was funny. I sent something to Shane. There's a podcast that I check in and out, and they're two Italian guys, but I think they would be like the Italian version of Top Gooners with some of the takes that they have, and they put together a list of like the top 5 in their opinions of most overrated players. And they said Kluivert was overrated, and he didn't live up to the hype at Milan. But I think he was already ran to the ground by the time he got to Milan, and it was just the name. But Patrick Kluivert at Barcelona was just different, and in the Netherlands he was just different. And I think Kluivert is often forgotten. Again, another class player that I think is often forgotten about when people start talking about, different positions and what about this person, what about that person. Patrick Kluivert was nothing short of world class at his peak. Nothing short of world class.
I think so.
Absolutely fantastic player. Who are you going with your second bench player now? So we got Brooken. I'm enjoying this team. I'm really enjoying this team that you put together. This is and I've enjoyed everybody's teams because it's all, what's cool about this is you see different people's perspectives on how they view the game with the 11 that they're putting together. And I really like this.
Yeah, I'm as I said, I'm trying to put a team together of forgotten players that were instrumental at the time to their football clubs. I could have come on here and picked the obvious ones and everything else, but this is another guy that was instrumental to this team at the time. Didn't quite work out for him at Arsenal. Went to Manchester United and just did not stop scoring goals from everywhere. From everywhere. I was going to put like Ian Wright on there, but Ian Wright was an absolute baller. But Andrew Cole.
Yep.
That partnership that he had with Dwight York and that season was just incredible.
Yep.
And you had Giggsy, Andy Cole. I mean, what? Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going for Ian Rush goes down. Who you're going to put in? Pretty similar, like for like. Not in the league of Rush. I still don't think he's in the league of Ian Rush. But to come off the bench, you need a goal. You stick a ball in the channels. You hit it. You just hit a long ball into the channel, and Andy Cole's onto it.
Yeah.
And when you look at Victor Gyökeres and you look at Andy Cole, people say to me, "Why do you rip into Why are you ripping into Gyökeres?" Well, this is why it's difficult when you've seen man like Andy Cole and people like that in the flesh. It's just honestly,
man.
Would you say he's underrated as well, Gianni?
Massively.
Doesn't get the credit, does
he? He is. I think Andy Cole is a better natural finisher than a lot of the top strikers that people talk about out of the history of out of the English, whether you talk League One or Premier League. I think Andy Cole's one of the best natural finishers, and I don't think he gets enough credit as he deserves. I think he's a better natural finisher than most strikers, and that's across Europe, if I'm being quite honest with you. I often wonder why he's always forgotten about. Maybe it's because, when I've seen him give interviews and stuff, he just seems like a really chill, laid back guy that nothing can faze him. And maybe that's part of it. But what I've seen as far as clips and seeing some games with him in it, I think he's fantastic. I think he's fantastic. So for my second bench player, I'm sure you remember this guy. I went with Fernando Di Napoli.
Yes.
Awesome midfielder.
Wow.
Awesome midfielder with Napoli. He was there for he was a defensive midfielder, or he was a defensive midfielder more so, but could also get creative. Very similar to nowhere near on the same level as Lothar Matthäus, but as far as playing style, similar. He could be defensive, but he could also go up and create as well. Was there for Napoli for all the titles with Diego Maradona. And then eventually he moved on to Milan in the 90s. He won back-to-back Scudettes, and was a part of the Champions League team for 93, 94 for Milan. Fernando Di Napoli, absolutely class player. Still loved, even though he left and went to AC Milan. He's still loved by the Napoli fan base. He's not as hated as other players that left, especially because we all knew what started to happen with Napoli once Maradona left. The great team that we had just broke apart. It was what it was. But Fernando Di Napoli, often a name of a midfielder that a lot of people don't know, but he's one of the best Italian midfielders, in my personal opinion.
He don't get the credit either, does he? Another one don't really get the credit on a European stage.
No, and he was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic of a midfielder. Same thing like you said, he could win a ball in the midfield. He could dictate the pace of the game, know when to slow the game down, know when to kill the game. I mean, I would say in that 86, 87, Maradona, Di Napoli, and the emergence of Ciro Ferrara as a center back, I think those were the three most important players to that Napoli team the first time around.
I mean, that Napoli team was solid, weren't they? But I mean, that was just...
The second team was better. The second team in 89-90 was better because then Careca joined. You had the emergence of a youngster by the name of Gianfranco Zola playing with Careca and Maradona up top.
Creative Zola. He was another one that I was going to put in.
Love him. He and you know, Ciro Ferrara at that point, come time for the second Scudetto, Ferrara was very much a full-fledged one of the best center backs in the world at that point. But I just wanted to give Fernando Di Napoli some love. Who's your third to round off this bench?
This is gonna do you.
Okay.
Argentinian.
Okay.
Daniel Passarella.
Oh, another one. Everybody forgets him. Passarella is class.
Everyone forgets him.
Class.
How can you forget Passarella? Hard as nails, man. What a team.
Would I? Man, Passarella. One of the best. He's often forgot about, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why.
I think he's up in the top. I think he's up there in the top 10 of all time.
For defense, he should be.
Defensively, he's up there with the Beckenbauers and all of them.
He a lot of people forget he was the power. He was the main power and mentality monster for the 78 team that won before Maradona hit the scene.
Oh,
Passarella was probably the most important player for
quick as well. And I think they played him as he had like a sweeper role as well, and he was quick across the back and brave. I mean, he got his head on everything. Arsenal would not get half the set pieces if Passarella was the opposition.
That is a shout. Daniele Passarella. That is a freaking shout. Nobody's chosen him. Nobody has chosen him. I can guarantee you that. Nobody's chosen.
And he would probably fit nicely. Tony Adams comes off injured in my team, or Beckenbauer comes off, and you got Passarella just to slip. You still don't
score. If Adams or Beckenbauer comes off and you replace them with Passarella, the opposing team still isn't going to score against that.
Exactly. Yeah, and you've still got Lothar Matthäus just in front. You've got Georgie Best that you can hit the wing with. You've got Ryan Giggs bombing down. Pirlo holding it all together, and then you've got Ian Rush and Alan Shearer running off each other. I mean, it's just...
So now, can I make a guess here? If you were to choose a coach to coach this unbelievable team, would it be Clough? Because I know you got love for Clough. That I'm interested to see if you were to pick a manager.
I would go, Brian. It's a Trapattoni or Cloughie.
You can't go wrong with either one of those two.
It's Trapattoni or Clough. I'll tell you what, I'll have Clough as head coach and Trapattoni as the assistant coach. There you go. Trapattoni, Cloughie's just man management. What's required to win? What Brian Clough done, no manager will ever do in their lifetime. Ever.
No.
I don't care who you are.
No.
No one is ever going to achieve what Brian Clough done with a team like Nottingham Forest.
No.
You needed something about you to manage And I've got to shout out to Stuart Pearce as well. He was another really solid fullback as well.
Yes, he was.
I mean, what he had, you know, he had John Robertson in that team, in that Forest team, Woodcock, Martin O'Neill. I mean, yeah. I mean, Clough and Trapattoni would be the two kingpins on that. They're the only managers I would pick. I wouldn't even pick Pep. Pep wouldn't get it. Wenger wouldn't get it. Ferguson. Yeah, Ferguson would be up there.
Ferguson would be up there.
100%.
Ferguson would be up there.
But Trapattoni, for me, was just incredible manager.
Yeah. Oh, still the best. Still the best by far, in my opinion, as far as Italian football. There won't be anybody who's better than him. I don't care if Conte or Allegri.
Ancelotti, does he come close?
Ancelotti, I think, is the only guy. I think Ancelotti is the better manager than Trapattoni, but Trapattoni specifically to Italy is the best.
Yeah.
Specifically to Italy, Trapattoni is the best. The thing about Ancelotti that's impressive is Ancelotti being the only manager to win across all 5 of the big leagues.
Yeah.
Is insane. But the other thing with Ancelotti for me is his ability to win in the Champions League is what sets Ancelotti apart from Trapattoni to me. You know, at the time when Trapattoni was the manager of Juventus at that point wasn't the biggest team in Italy. A lot of people forget that. Inter was by far the bigger team in Italy.
And Trapattoni just took that off him, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I like Trapattoni's in-game management when his teams were on the cosh, when they were absolutely dead and buried, he would make 2 really crazy situations. He'd change the system, or he'll bring a player from, and he'd just change it up, and it would just be like a genius move, absolute genius.
Yeah,
absolute genius move. But big up RSVP in the shout. I mean, look. The great Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton's, Greavesy, I mean, Jimmy Greaves, I mean, wow. Greavesy, what? Dennis Law, all these men were just
Dennis Law was
icons.
Class. My grandfather loved Dennis Law.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant players.
So my last bench player. I don't know if you remember this guy. This is a shout and out of left field too for a lot of people. But Pietro Viercowood. He was a center back in Italy, very underrated at the time. He made 45 appearances for the Italian national team. He was very important to Fiorentina's time while he was there. He was a part of the Rome Serie A victory in 82 in the 1982-83 season, I believe. He was also the center back enforcer for the Sampdoria team with Gianluca Vialli and Roberto Mancini.
Wow.
On that team. And then he eventually, I believe was it Inter he went to after Sampdoria? But it was Milan. No, I'm sorry. No, it was neither. It was Juventus because he was a part of the Juventus team. So the Champions League, the European Cup winners in 96, Viercowood and Ciro Ferrara were a common center back pairing for that Juventus team in 95, 96. But he's somebody who I think, again, as the common theme, he's often forgotten about because of how good of a center back he was. He was so important to Sampdoria when they won that Scudetto. And honestly, anybody who wants to go back and watch, that Sampdoria team was a badass team to watch, especially Roberto Mancini and Gianluca Vialli up top were nothing short of class as a forward.
Brilliant team. Together. Brilliant team, that Sampdoria team. Brilliant team. But yeah, I mean, look, as I said, there are players that you could probably say are better than the players I've picked, like obviously the R9s, the Greaveses, and all of that. I'm not denying that they were better, but for me, those players, the team there is just an all-round solid team, and I don't think a lot of those players, especially the Passarau, the Trevor Brookins, the Ian Rushes, all of them men, that Ryan Giggs for me is probably the most underrated player of all time.
Oh yeah, hands down. Rush
And
too, though. A lot of Liverpool fans praise Ian Rush. I would say a lot of foreigners that don't know the history of Liverpool, a lot of foreign fans that have
yeah,
gotten into the Premier League don't know Ian Rush
yeah.
to the degree
I think Gianni, Ian Rush is an absolute legend within the Liverpool and the Merseyside
yes,
community. But when you start drifting away from that, Ian Rush is not someone that rolls off of everyone's tongue. But
correct.
he was a phenomenal player. Bit
Yeah,
like Neville Southall as a goalkeeper that you picked. You know,
yeah.
people don't really give him the credit he deserves. But yeah, he was a player. I mean, I have gone for two likely lads there. If you like Pirlo and Georgie Best, everyone knows them. They're brilliant. But
You're the only other person that picked Lothar Matthäus outside of me. I picked Lothar Matthäus for Natster's 11, and I had said on his thing, I think Lothar Matthäus, as an all-around complete center midfielder, Matthäus is up there with the best of them.
Defense, honestly, he was just incredible, absolutely incredible. Lothar Matthäus, yeah, 100%.
And again, that's the point of the show. It's who you would pay to see.
But but see, the thing is as well, though, Gianni, there's not many of those players that we have picked that would not get in most teams. I'm talking about most teams of today. Them players walk into.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
talking about the great Real Madrid teams, the Barcelonas, the Man City treble-winning teams. Alex Ferguson would have had Alan Shearer at a drop of a hat without any shadow of a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, could you imagine Pep would have loved to have, obviously he came out of the academy and Sergio Busquets is a fantastic player. I always say for me, if I wanted to build an all out, just beautiful attacking football from the midfield, Pirlo, Iniesta, and Xavi would be nothing short of absolutely.
Iniesta and Xavi, that's it. You're done, you're made, aren't you?
Good luck getting the ball back from those three.
Exactly. But I mean, as I said, I rated Frank Lampard. If we're talking about English midfielders, Frank Lampard, I thought he gets overshadowed by the Paul Scholes and the Steven Gerrard.
Yes,
but Frank Lampard for Chelsea was more. How can I say? He was more important, if you like, for that Chelsea team. I don't think Gerrard would have done for that Chelsea team what Frank Lampard did for that Chelsea team.
No, especially not the Ancelotti season when they won the double. Especially that season, Gerrard wouldn't have scored on the same level.
No.
Lampard. Gerrard would have done a lot more dirty work in that midfield.
Yeah,
that's just what Gerrard could do. I mean, Gerrard is absolute class, no doubt about it. But for that specific Chelsea team, the way Ancelotti had set it up, absolutely nothing short of class.
And Petr Cech in that Chelsea era as well was a very good goalkeeper.
I've often said, if Cech had left England and not gone to Arsenal, he would be ranked, I think, and regarded as a much better goalkeeper than what he is. I think the time at Arsenal brought everybody's opinion of Cech down, and that's not really on him because it was what it was during that period with Arsenal. So I think Cech would be put in a much higher regard if it wasn't for him laying around. Like had he gone to like a Germany, had he gone to like the Bundesliga or Serie A at that point and just would have stayed as Chelsea and would have never gone to Arsenal, I think he would be in a different level being considered at that point. But DJB, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been amazing. I've really loved it, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. I hope the chat's enjoyed it. And I've really.
We're gonna do this again. I'm gonna have everybody come on here at least twice to give different 11s. But this,
I can do a different 11. No, I can pick hundreds of 11s. Yeah,
this 11 and bench is unbelievable.
It's not a bad team, is it? It's not a bad team. It certainly it wins a trophy, doesn't it? It wins a trophy.
Oh yeah. I think I may have to figure out how to do this right. I put out everybody's 11 and might have to do a poll on whose 11 is the best so far. They're all different. Again, that's what's so beautiful about this is that it's all different. But this 11
I think
this
you have to
11 is
look
the-
at it. I think you have to look at it of not. See, as I said, people will go for the obvious. You know, they'll go
yeah,
for the R9s and all of that. But what you've got to realise is there's a lot of those players here that done it at the time. I mean, when you think Shearer, he didn't really play for a. I mean, what he done for Blackburn Rovers when they won that title was just insane. That season when they won the Premier League, Blackburn, it was just incredible what he done, Alan Shearer. When he was at Newcastle, what he done for them. So what you've got to think about, if Alan Shearer's playing for a Real Madrid, he's up there with the best. He's up there with the best, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So you have to, Ian Rush, even, all right, what he done for Liverpool was just great. But if Ian Rush was playing for a Barcelona or someone like that, you'd be talking about him he'd be up there with the greats, wouldn't he?
Mhm.
So, yeah, for the clubs they played for, you know, and as I said, the one in there that people go, "Oh, hang on a minute, didn't realise Trevor Brooking," but go and have a look at him, my friend. Go and have a look at him. That guy was a player. Any West Ham fan would tell you, one of the best players that's ever been at top level.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to conclude this episode of Who You Would Pay to See. DJB again, man. It's been absolutely a pleasure to talk ball with you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Napoli's on there, and it against Roma?
Yeah, we're gonna jump over to the Napoli Roma watch along, the Derby del Sol. Hopefully Forza Napoli. Hopefully
Who's watching that? Who's watching that? Shane, is he watching that?
Shane will be hopping on a little bit. He's going to be finishing up with Rashid and then heading on over.
Big up, my friend.
Then,
big up.
We have a couple
join me for the Sunday sit back tonight on the Arsenal Huddle. That'd be great. Be looking forward to seeing you, my friends.
Absolutely. DJB, it's been a pleasure. And to everybody
Absolute
in the chat,
pleasure, my friend.
Thank you for stopping by for the conversation today. And
take it easy, brother.
See you guys at the watch along.
Yeah, take it easy. Take care.